What's up, everybody? It's Matt here from Matt's Great World, and boy, do I got a doozy for you. Skillet is just one of those bands that I didn't really think I would latch onto when I first heard of them, but boy, have I ever. All in all, I haven't heard their entire discography, so bear in mind, I am not an expert on their sound by any means. I have heard a little bit of their older stuff, but not all of it. But I'm going to be reviewing their 11th studio album, Dominion, anyway, so strap in and enjoy the ride. Surviving the Game is not only the first song on the album, it's also the first single that we got off of the album as well, and it's an anthemic song that takes you on a joyride of a lifetime. The synths and keyboard elements phase in and out with the distorted guitars to create that signature Skillet vibe. The lyrics are very defiant, inspirational, and all about survival in a dangerous world, very much like the world we've been living in the last couple of years. And of course, John Cooper and Jen Ledger still sound awesome. Standing in the Storm is the second single that we got off of the album, and boy did they try to go old school with this track. It sounded like they were trying to create a hybrid between their sound and the sound of Linkin Park. And I know that John Cooper, the lead singer, is a huge Linkin Park fan. And this track kind of threw me for a loop at first when I first heard it. But now that I've had quite a full year to sit with it, to be quite honest, it's not that bad of a track. I do enjoy it. It's not the best song that I've heard from them, but it is a good one, to be completely honest. And I do kind of like the rapping and the big anthemic chorus. A unique kind of track that shows that they're still willing to experiment. Dominion is the third track on the album. It's the fourth single that we got, and it's also the title track. And I think this single was released on release day, to be completely honest. And all in all, it's the most defiant track on the entire album. It's about standing up against depression and rising above hate and violence. Typical Skillet, if you ask me. I'm not the biggest fan of the track as a whole, but I at least like that they tried to be somewhat catchy with it. Valley of Death is the fourth track on the album, and I thought that this song was going to be one of those headbanging Christian calls to arms, but instead we got a heartfelt ballad that was clearly inspired by the devastation that was left behind by the pandemic. The way John Cooper sings on this track is phenomenal and incredibly touching. The piano is soulful and saddening. They didn't pull any punches on this one, to be completely honest, and I really do enjoy this ballad more than anything on the record, and I do think it's probably the best track on the whole album. When you need an inspiration to get off the couch and just do something, and you don't exactly know what that something is, then this should be your jam. Beyond Incredible is just about rising above and searching for a better life. The guitar work makes me just get up and air guitar whenever this comes on, and Jen Ledger again shows off her vocal prowess and shows that she and John Cooper can still very much hand the baton off to each other at any point during a song, and it will still sound legendary. Destiny is the sixth track on the album, and it's one of those tracks that you think would be self-explanatory just by the title. And if that's what you thought, you'd be right and you'd be wrong all at the same time. Skillet got to work and put together a hype track that shows that this band works so well with two vocalists that it's kind of almost hypnotic, to be completely honest. The lyrics are about how we forge our own destiny and we aren't supposed to dwell in darkness. All in all, well crafted and well balanced. Refuge is the third single that we got off of the album, and Skillet came out with another ballad that shows their gratitude to their savior, but pump the brakes a little bit because this isn't all, Christian gossip worship here. I expected them to come out with a song like this right from the get-go, but they met my expectations by not just making it about their faith. Skillet has a knack for writing songs that can connect to anyone at any time, and they're not the only band that I listen to that does this. Shinedown is another glaring example. I just reviewed their latest album, Planet Zero. If you want to check that out, I'll be leaving it at the end screen. And this showed that Skillet was still able to write a song like that uh, with Refuge. And to be completely honest, I do love that song very, very dearly, and I really hope I get to see it played live one day. Out Your Freedom is another defiant rock tune that blasts the door off the hinges, and it starts off kind of slow and a little bit more melodic with some interesting synths, but it quickly transitions into a catchy verse that blasts into a very explosive chorus. And I'm running out of adjectives here, so overall, the guitars are fantastic. Seth Morrison really outdid himself on this track. Not much more you can say about an underrated deep cut. Once again, Destroyer starts off with a melodic intro that goes into a full 180-degree turn with distorted guitars and some rapping. All in all, I feel like I really like the chorus in this track. Not so much the verses. The guitars and drums are catchy, and they do pound your ears in a good way. Some good aspects and some bad ones. It's not my favorite track, to be honest. I like what they tried to do with the lyrics, but the vocal approach left much to be desired, in my opinion. Forever or The End is a great example of a rock band showing that they can write many types of ballads. This is probably the best deep cut on the album, probably the second best song on the entire record behind Valley of Death. The guitars in the beginning catch your attention, and the chorus drives the whole thing to a brand new level. And I hope that they make this a single at some point, or they release some kind of acoustic version of it, or a remix, something just different with this song. But at the very least, I want to see them play this live at some point. It's time to light the crowd on fire and let them ignite. I'm guessing that's what John Cooper was thinking when he sat down to write this record and put it into a song. Ignite is a headbanger all the way, with soaring guitars and rhythmic drums. John Cooper delivers, I think, his best vocal performance that I've ever heard. And this whole track is just a cacophony of great musicianship. It is a masterpiece. I don't know why this wasn't a single, but all in all, this is a good deep cut that I think all of us are going to be enjoying for quite a long while. Out of all the songs on Dominion, out of all the songs that they probably wrote for this record, A, how did this even get up on the record? And B, why did it have to be the closer? The guitars sound haunting on White Horse for sure, and the synths add to that vibe as well. The vocals are just so chaotic and all over the place that I just don't get it, to be completely honest. The message behind the lyrics is quite obvious and very blunt, but out of all the songs I've heard from Skillet, this one is by far the worst, in my opinion. And I remember watching the live stream where they announced the title of the album, and they kind of listed off their favorite tracks from the album. And I do know that Seth Morrison said that this one was his favorite, and he thought that this one might be a fan favorite, kind of like how The Resistance was off of the Release Unleashed record. I don't know what you were thinking, Seth, but this is not like The Resistance at all. Not by a long, long, long shot. But in my opinion, I do think that they were trying something new here and trying to test new waters, and I do applaud them for that. But all in all, this is the worst album closer I've ever heard. Period. This album has plenty of gems on it, but it also has some songs that, for lack of a better term, are kind of dull. And there is something here for everyone. In my opinion, though, it's a far cry from previous efforts like Awake and Unleashed, just to name a couple. But for Skillet, it gets the job done. All in all, I do believe that some of the lyrics could have been different. Notice that I didn't say better, because music is very much subjective and it's very opinion-based. And in my opinion, I don't think any of these songs are particularly bad. They just don't really connect with me in any significant way. But overall, the album, I do believe, is a decent album. I don't think it's their best album. I don't think it's their worst album. But all in all, I do think if I had to give this a rating, I would give it a 6 out of 10. It's a pretty mediocre album, but it kind of shows you where their mindset was at, and I do think they were on the right track. They just had some misses on this album, and that's fine. I'm just excited to see what they come out with next, because I think they have a long career still ahead of them, and we are going to get plenty more albums from Skillet. Don't you worry. Thanks for watching this video, guys. What did you think of my rating and my opinions on Skillet's 11th studio album, Dominion? Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know what you thought of the album. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Were your thoughts similar to mine, or were they completely different? Let me know down in the comments, and if there's enough conversation going on down there, I'll drop a video where I will go through the tracks on the deluxe edition of the album, Day of Destiny. I already did a review of the latest single off of Dominion called Psycho in My Head, and I'll leave that at the end of the screen for you guys as well. So if you could share this video with your friends, colleagues, or family, that would mean a lot to me. And also, subscribing to the channel isn't a bad idea. I post great content like this all the time. I talk about movies, I talk about TV, music, I talk about literally anything and everything under the sun. Novels, graphic novels, you get the idea. I talk about everything. So if you've got an idea for a video, let me know in the comments below. I'm open to anything. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to let you all go. As always, stay safe, stay warm, stay happy, and it's never goodbye. It's just till next time. All right, guys, I'll see you on Wednesday.